Hello and welcome to the Legend of Podcast Trails Through Trails, the podcast where we play through the entire Trails series, no matter how long it's going to take us, and it might take a while. I'm your host, Lex, and I use she, her pronouns.
And I'm Matt, I use he, him.
And today we are playing the first half of Chapter 1 of Second Chapter, which is going to get really confusing the more we say Chapter of Second Chapter. It is confusing.
They really named themselves into a corner with this one.
Yeah, they really did.
Straight off the bat. So second chapter, first part is what we're playing today.
We made it worse for ourselves, admittedly.
Well, yeah, we didn't help. But it's still exciting. We get to play some video games.
It is. We do. And it's a good video game, too.
It's very exciting to kind of revisit all of our friends and hang out with folks.
Yeah, it is. And, familiar places, familiar faces. It's very exciting stuff. So yeah, I have a little bit of housekeeping I want to do with some Trails news that isn't really news so much as something interesting. Toshihiro Kondo, the president of Falcom, did an interview with Gamer, a Japanese outlet, a Japanese interview. So RPG Site has reported on it, so we don't have a full translation. But what's interesting is that they talk about how a lot of long-standing turn-based RPG series have been adding more action elements, including Trails. And Kondo says that while they're having fun experimenting with adding new action elements, he's pretty committed to wanting it to be fundamentally turn-based through to the end of the Trail series, which is a good update to have. I'm not surprised, but it's good to have confirmation. But he talks a bit about other series like Atlas's games and the Atelier series he mentions and stuff like that, which is interesting. Apparently, the article linked by RPG Site, so the original interview, has screenshots that have spoilers for the next upcoming game, Beyond the Horizons. So I haven't looked at that to see. I haven't tried to do like a Google Translate or anything like that. I'm just going to rely on my spoiler-safe reporting. But yeah. For anyone who's worried that as they add more action elements, they're gonna do away entirely with turn-based, apparently that's not on the card. So that's good to know.
Yeah, it definitely is, because there is kind of like a genre-wide shift away from it to a certain extent. You like the big boys, like Final Fantasy is not a turn-based game anymore. The other one that's kind of stuck with it for the most part is the Tales series with the limbs system, the linear motion battle system. In terms of just like sticking with the vibe throughout an entire series, they've kind of done that. And much like Trails, they just kind of iterate on that base design and kind of try new variations of it game to game. So yeah. I personally, from what I've seen of the battle system in first chapter, to make the distinction in audio, is nice because I really like the kind of level of action in the combat, or the cross attacks and stuff. Apparently there's like 3 different kinds of combo specialty move in there, and I don't know the difference, so I am very excited to kind of check it out properly in a month.
In Jesus. I like, without the in a month, just like, I'm gonna find out in Jesus. I'll be communing with Jesus by playing that game.
Yes, a deeply spiritual podcast host, Matt.
Well known for being devout as all hell.
I did notice, we're about to start talking about it, so it's not really a spoiler at this point. I was in Ruan, or Rune, or Ron, or however it's going to be named.
Whatever the fuck it is.
In second chapter for the section we're playing in this game, and had a moment when I was running back into town. And if you remember last season, Ruan is the town that ruined me because I have a terrible sense of direction in games, and it just feels counter to how this town should be laid out in an RPG. You're moving down an expansive town rather than up into an expansive town, and it fucks me up every time. So I was running back into Ruin and pivoted the camera so that I was running sort of upwards as I came in from the north. So I ran past the arms shop that's on the corner there, and then I saw this most recent trailer that's dropped for Once chapter, and there was the exact same shot in full 3D of Estelle running into Ruin from the same direction, at the camera at the same angle, sort of panning to look at the building, and it was spooky because it's like, yeah, that's exactly it. It is like a weird little boxy shop that's shoved into this corner, and it still looks exactly the same. It's to scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to check out the game. Even if they have gone loco crazy on the pronunciation of words,
Yeah.
I'm still really excited to re-explore this town because, yeah, at this point we're likely to be deep in the midst of second chapter when this comes out. So it's the same world. It hasn't, well, to
Mm-hmm.
date, in what we've seen, it hasn't changed dramatically. So it's just going to be kind of nostalgia on nostalgia, living in this town for going on a year straight.
Oh boy. Okay, we haven't been recording this quite that long, though it will be getting there by the time we're through third.
I think by the time I make it to Ruin in once chapter, it will be a year because
True.
as excited as I am, I can't sort of like mainline it because otherwise I will run myself into the ground. But I'm
That's
happy
fair.
to sort of casually explore my way through the 3D world of Liberal.
Liberal, oh god. Oof. All
They
right.
better patch that.
It's a crime. But what else have you been up to for the past week?
I have been doing all the normal life things. I played this game. My one big change is that if you lean in close to your phone or podcast playing device of choice, I'm looking at you, the one person in our podcast stats who apparently is listening to the show on Watch OS on their Apple Watch. I'm talking to
Whoa.
you directly. Please email in and explain to me why. I'm so curious because that is wild. Anyway,
I wonder if it connects to, if it has Bluetooth, like if it can connect to your headphones. Because if you're at the gym or something, that would totally make sense. If you have headphones in, but it's your watch and not your phone.
I guess. If that's the case, please tell me. I need to close this loop in my mind. In any case, regardless of how you're listening to this podcast, if you lean in real close to your device and sniff, you'll notice that this episode does not smell of coffee because I replaced my laptop.
Yay!
The poor thing was struggling more and more. I've lost full functionality on like a third of my keyboard at this point just from the
My
permeation of latte, I think. So I went out and replaced it. And let me tell you, having a laptop that's new and shiny and not full of caffeine is a much smoother experience. Unfortunately, it refuses to play nice with a controller for playing these goddamn games.
So weird.
I did the full like system transfer MacBook to MacBook, so it just kind of like copy pasted my entire like shit.
Mm-hmm.
The one change is that the new laptop is new enough that they have a dedicated gaming controllers section in like the system stuff.
Right.
And apparently that is what is ruining my life because now with the way I'm playing it sort of simulating Windows on a Mac machine to run this also very old game, it just will not communicate controller connection at all, which is deeply frustrating because it's the exact same setup. I've even had someone else test this for me. A friend of the show, Matt Horton, went out of his way to kind of set up a game through Porting Kit with controller support to test the exact same setup that I had and had absolutely no problems getting it to work without like any effort. So I don't fucking know. I don't know.
That's so
but
weird.
Basically it means that the one reason that I'm still using my old laptop is to play this game. So
It's a dedicated Trails in the Sky machine.
it's a dedicated Trails box, and that's okay. That's a sweet existence, I think, to kind of
That's a good retirement.
yeah. So that's kind of I literally spent like 4 hours one night tech supporting that. So that is most of what I've been up to for the past week.
I received the texts about as Matt's mental state spiraled over the course of those 4 hours. So I can attest to that. We almost lost him for good to the madness.
I almost went to like IT madness, yeah. It's such a deeply specific and kind of weird setup that there is no searching for other people who have the same problem because no one else does.
Yeah.
Because no one else was playing on a 9-year-old laptop to simulate an even older game in a porting simulation that it could barely run to begin with. So now I have a Trails laptop and a podcast laptop, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Other than that, the only thing of note is that at my day job, we had one of those like, morning teas. I work in an office, a kind of setup.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a morning tea and I cannot remember the name of what this special day was, and neither could they. It's something like International Day for Celebrating Indigenous Culture, Food, Festival, Week, Month. It was such a bad name. It doesn't roll off the tongue, but it was about celebrating, because the company I work for is global. They have sort of like areas in different countries all over the place. So celebrating like local cultures. And so for us, they had a big morning tea, which they had catered by First Nations catering company. So it was sort of First Nations Australian cuisine using like local ingredients, stuff like that. And then they did a quiz about different cultures around the world. Just one of those ones you dial in on your phone, you pick the answers. And and they gave away prizes for the winners, and unfortunately, I won. I came first.
Oh my gosh.
It was just, it hurt me a little bit that 2 out of the 3 winners were white men.
Oh god.
You should not be winning the culture game. So, yeah, one of my colleagues laughed at me because as soon as they announced me as the winner, I just sort of said, oh no. Especially because part of my job is taking photos of events like this for like a little internal newsletter thing. No one cares. So I had to stop taking photos and have photos taken of me. And
Oh, no.
truly, I wish to cease existing. But I now have a cookbook that tells me how to make recipes with native ingredients. A lot of it is seafood, and I don't eat seafood. So that's kind of off the table.
You don't? Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. That or
Fair
like
enough.
kind of shared dishes that you might eat with your hands, which is not office appropriate. So I'm going to find something in the middle to kind of say, thank you. I'm sorry that a white man won this. I tried.
You tried. I don't know whether that means you tried to not win or you tried and you shouldn't have.
It's like someone asked me, someone non-white in the office asked me, is like, how did you know all that? And I was like, I don't know. I try to be aware of the world around me. I listen, I learn things. Like, I have no culture, so why not check out people who have some?
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my week. It was just trails, tech support, and culture. How about you? What have
Very
you been up
nice.
to?
I mean, I've had a pretty crazy week with like just real life stuff in terms of fun stuff to report. I watched Shogun over like the last week or so. It's so good. Like the 2024 show. It's like absurdly good. It's like some of the best TV I've ever seen in my life. I just can't recommend it highly enough. It was so good. Some of the greatest like acting performances I've seen in a long time. I'm usually not great at watching stuff with subtitles because I like to have something else that I'm doing at the same time as watching TV or movies, right? So really the only thing I can do usually is like eat and if I'm watching something with subtitles, because it's like the only thing you can do with your hands that you're still looking at. So like that's why movie theaters are like slightly better. This is a lot of it is subtitle, like it's maybe 70% Japanese, 30% in English.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I was just riveted the whole time. It was really good. Yeah, that's I think the main thing I've been up to. I've been playing more Jeanne d'Arc.
Yes, I saw you on Backlogged.
Yeah, it's a weird game. It's really fun. It's so weird. It's like Fire Emblem, but Joan of Arc, and she's a magical girl. Like a Sailor Moon magical girl transformation. Also, there's like a frog who's purple and maybe fights. I'm not sure what his deal is yet. He can definitely combine your skills to become better skills. Okay. I think he might fight eventually, but I haven't got there yet. The King of England, Henry VI, I guess it would be at this point, is a small child who has been possessed by a demon that the like Duke of Bedford summoned. I don't know. Like it's real. Like it's so funny. Every time the characters are like, we have to go kill the English. Like I'm not used to playing a video game where the enemy that they're naming is like the Englishmen. We gotta go kill those English assholes. It's very funny.
Yeah, I've heard the praises sung of this game a lot across a number of podcasts. I do have it installed on my PS5 because they had it in PS Plus at one point.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was on PS5. I'm playing it on PSP.
The original.
Yeah.
I don't think the PS5 version really adds anything beyond save states.
Yeah.
I have a save state like immediately after booting up the game. That was it. I was just curious to see what it looked like, and then I was like, okay, now go back to what I was playing and circle back to this eventually. But no, I'm glad it's a good time and that there's a purple frog in it. That seems like French history to me.
They're very common in France. I know this for a fact. But yeah, that's all I really have to get to before we get to the reason you're all listening in the first place, Trails in the Sky. So, do you want to proceed to the game?
Let's get into the game.
Let's do this thing!
So we open up down in the sealed area.
Yeah, very ominous.
It still looks the same way it did in FC, pretty much. You've got Kevin and Julia on the elevator going down. Big floating platform elevator thing.
Specifically, they're on the elevator that goes down to the final floor before the final boss that didn't have your whole party come and join you.
Forever salty. But yeah, Julia and Kevin are talking about how basically Julia's like, you're extremely well trained for a priest. And there's immediately suggestions about like, what's Kevin doing? Why is he involved in this? Why? And Kevin's like, oh, you figured me out. oh, well, it's not a big deal because we're close to the Von Osleis family anyway. Like, they're immediately talking around, like, they're not saying that something's up with Kevin's identity, but it's not something that Julia is like, you're a bad guy, or you're an impersonator, or whatever. Like, it's just, there's something more. They also talk about how Mayor Dalmore, the mayor who was corrupt and evil back in FC, had that artifact he had. They're, like, talking logistics of how Kevin's here to collect it, among other things. And Julia's like, yeah, we've got it safely according to procedure, stored away or whatever. This is kind of the chit chat as they go into the big boss chamber to see the remains of the Ring Guardian, which apparently is an artifact.
Also interesting that Kevin refers to Mayor Dalmore's time stick specifically as the Chronos Rod, which I don't know that was a name we got during FC.
See, I know it's called that, and I don't remember if we got that in FC or if I just know that.
Because he talked about it like being able to cast Time Stop or something, but I don't think he gave it like a proper noun name. So
yeah, I don't know.
Kevin's clearly in the loop on this stuff to a degree that even the guy who had the magic Time Stop stick didn't know about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's very in the loop about many loops, it would appear. Given that he's talking about this while he's also here to see the whole sealed area. Sealed area, not Aurea. The Aureole got into my head. Kevin mentions that the remains of the Ring Guardian is kind of similar to an archaism that they excavated in Calvard, which is kind of an interesting aside that I picked up on, and I don't know what it's talking about.
Yeah, I was going to ask because I saw that and it was like, well, I don't remember this from Calvard.
It's very possible that it will come up later in the Sky Games and I've forgotten, but I don't think it has come up in FC, and it's not something that I remember from like the Calvard. I mean, this is 8 years before the Calvard game, so it's not like related to the plot in any direct way, at least, because that would be a long time to hold out.
But no, I'm curious to hear more about that because it's very throwaway, and it's like, hang on, the magical robots that we just learned about at the end of last game, you're like, oh yeah, we found a big one in pretend France. Also, anyway, let's move on. I want to know more. But yeah, so they check out Reverie, which is still just kind of like in a pile where we left it after beating the crap out of it last game. Then they check out the big machine at the back that the Black Orbment or Gospel was hooked up to in the finale.
Yes.
Which is similar but not the same as the ones at the top of the towers that didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Kevin tells us some stuff, some archaeological analysis. He tells us first he says it's an artifact from the last years of ancient Zemurian civilization, so it's at least 1,200 years old, which confuses me because I thought all artifacts were from the ancient Zemurian civilization and therefore all at least 1,200 years old. Like, I get that it's interesting that he's saying he can tell it's from the end of that period, not like from before that, but it's just funny to be like, it's at least 1,200 years old, and I'm like, all artifacts are, honey. Like, that's by definition.
That's like the entry level.
We get a little more exposition about artifacts as well. He says a few things about basically how they work, which is that they basically follow the same principles as orbments, but they're basically black boxes that can't actually be analyzed with any modern tools. I think Professor Epstein, who is dead, who figured out orbment technology, might have figured out how to analyze them, but no one around knows the method. So even though orbments are based on them, we don't know how they work, which is really interesting. The church calls them gifts from the goddess given too early. That's kind of their catchphrase for them.
Yeah, he does mention that there's no clear indication what this device does either. So even though he can sort of carbon date it at a glance, he's still like, I know that that's old. I don't know if it's a computer, a microwave, a bomb. It could be anything.
Any of it.
But then they move on to the 4 towers, but now 4 indents on the ground because they're still submerged after they sort of dropped during the first chapter finale. He sort of ruminates a bit and refers to them as some sort of gate on the trail, that leads to the goddess's treasure.
He looks at it and is like, oh, okay, I see. Julia's like, yeah, nobody has any idea what that's about, them going into the ground. And he looks at it and he goes, okay, I see the kind of system that's happening here. He's like, okay, the gospel, it's seal on the Aureole, second barrier. He's like putting it all together. Basically, like, so he's looking at all these pieces and he immediately is putting together that all these are part of a larger system, not the entirety of which is not in this room. Like, there are other pieces of this system outside of this chamber. Not surprising, but still interesting.
It's kind of a rehash of what we already learnt at the end of the game because the ancient Siri did say something about like the first lock or the first ring being unlocked, something like that.
Yes.
And you don't say first unless there's a second, etc., etc.
This is
So
true.
this does act as a kind of nice recap while also giving fresh information and not just making us sit through like, here's a list of the facts you already know.
Exactly. No, it's well done.
Kind of like reinvigorates your interest in what the hell is here, because Kevin's going to be figuring it out for us. Thank you, Kevin.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
And that was our cold open to the chapter.
Yeah, so he talks about this trail leading to the goddess's treasure, but mentions that it may not be a trail that you see or regularly walk, something more like the septium veins or something else that they don't understand, some sort of metaphysical trail, potentially. And that is the trail to the Aureole, as far as Kevin's concerned. So he thinks if he keeps following the instruction manual for this place, he'll find where the Aureole went. And also, do we know what the Aureole is yet? We don't.
One of the Septarians.
But beyond that, we don't have any kind of information about what it is, what it looks like, anything like that.
It had big powers. That's what we know. It like a force of nature of some kind.
Yeah.
I think they said it rules over nature, but I don't think that was like a literal meaning. I think that was like it just has powers beyond natural things. But we don't really know what's up with that.
But I'm sure we'll find out because Kevin Graham is on the case.
But then we get to the title card, which is Sneaking Shadows. And then we show up on an airship, and Annalise and Estelle are arriving in Grancel. We're back in the capital already. It took us the whole game to get there last time, but we're here already. Yay, we did it.
Hurrah.
Estelle is kind of nervous. She's like, oh my god, like I'm back. I'm actually going to do real bracer stuff now. Like I'm back at work. Training's over. And Annalise gives her a really cute little pep talk. She says Estelle's gotten a lot stronger over the last month and, quote, not just in like the whacking stuff with the stick department.
Yeah.
You're more knowledgeable, careful, and you make better judgments, all of which is true. And I like that it's being acknowledged. Like, you can see that you don't need anyone to say that to notice that about Estelle playing the chapter, but it's also nice that it's like telling and showing, We're getting both sides of that.
Yeah, Estelle kind of needs someone to say it out loud.
Yes.
Everyone else can kind of see the evidence, but our girl's got a little bit of imposter syndrome, I think.
A little bit. Poor thing. First, before we can deal with our imposter syndrome, we have to go report. And we see Online again. We love him. I rank up to G+.
Yep, same.
I assume that as long as you made the the BP choices in the first chapter, that happens. And we get a little update on Cassius is now Brigadier General Bright. He's in charge of he's the head of military command. We're out of Leston Forest. And Estelle goes, the future entrusted to Dad? Well, we're doomed then.
We're putting the country's hopes on Brigadier General Dad. He's taken over from Colonel Morgan as kind of the head of the army. So he's not just back in the army, he is the army.
Yeah.
That's exciting. But it does mean that the army are more likely to be working in conjunction with us rather than against us this time around.
At least as long as Dad's there, We also get some other updates on weird changes in Liberl over the last month. Apparently, wild beasts and monsters in various regions have been going through a lot of changes. There are new, heretofore undocumented monsters that have been showing up, and the existing monsters have gotten more vicious, so travel is way more dangerous. I really like how they're like, yeah, the monsters that you could fight at level 10 are now going to be difficult even for level 50. But we're going to give you an in-universal explanation. We're not just going to launch that on you.
Yeah, level scaling is like plot relevant. It does mean that people aren't traveling by the roads anymore.
Yeah, it's way more dangerous.
Now that the airships are back up and running because they no longer need to be down for plot reasons, everyone's relying on airship travel. So the roads are pretty quiet.
Yeah.
I did get a couple of NPC dialogues over the course of this section of the game where they were like, you walked here? That's nuts. So it's nice that that's kind of being reinforced over and over again. It's like, you're level 30 now. You're stronger.
Apparently the guild is formulating a response to this monster situation, and Elnon wants us to be part of it. And then 2 people walk in the door, and it's Cher and Agate.
Hooray!
Yay! We missed you guys. Well, we saw Cher last chapter, but still.
I wasn't happy to see Agate in this moment because he didn't leave a great impression first game, but that's quickly going to turn around. I was surprised.
Good.
It's cool they kind of show up.
I just want to point out that when they walk in, Annalise says seeing them together is like seeing a king penguin.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're never together. They never hang out. And I thought that was hilarious because we've seen a king penguin.
Yeah, that was the boss battle in the limestone cave where we had to go to get the glowing moss.
Yeah, the evil penguin.
Yeah.
And Estelle's like, an evil penguin?
They're not rare. You just have to touch a big mossy rock at the bottom of the dungeon and he shows up every time.
Exactly. God, people just don't know what they're doing.
They're officially tasked to investigate the society, which Estelle kind of like gets mad about at first. She's like, what? seeming like she's jealous not to have the job, before Agate sort of says, "Yeah, it's not as exciting as it sounds. It basically just means we're going to be wandering the entire country going like, anything weird happening?
Yeah.
What's up?
Just like wandering around looking in corners for something suspicious.
Have you seen any weird guys? Has your background music or lighting cues changed suddenly unexpectedly? Have you seen anything plot relevant, Mr. NPC? They don't really have any clear paths. They're not even sure for sure that the society exists. They kind of know it is, but there is no concrete evidence to point to it because
Exactly.
they are very good at being sneaking shadows.
They might say.
Basically, Ellen says, so that's what they're doing, and Estelle, don't be jealous, because we're going to pair you each up with one of them to help them, because that's, like, training, and you'll be able to, like, tour the country, and you have insights, maybe, that will help, because this was kind of your whole deal 2 months ago. And at this point, they're like, okay, you pick. Who do you want to spend time with? I was like, what? I get to pick? I get a choice about my party composition in Trails in the Sky? Crazy.
It's shocking shit.
So we sort of discussed this ahead of time, but my immediate instinct was to choose Agate because he's trash and he goes around like yelling at people and slapping children, and I was like, that's gonna be fun, I think.
You like slapping children? You think that's fun, Matt?
Only watching other people do it.
I actually love Agate, so I am like very entertained by your like dislike for him because I'm like, oh, just you weren't.
Like I know, like I've seen him in later games, so I know that there is an arc to his personality. But yeah, the culture shock of getting to meet him for the first time was like, oh, it's that guy who showed up sometimes. And then he's just like, everyone sucks and fuck you and I'm the best and all of you are dog shit beneath my boot.
And I'm slapping a child.
It's a bit of a shock. And then the slapping of a child, which has shown up in multiple trailers for the Once chapter remake now, which is so funny.
Okay, what I find weird about it is the sound. It lines up like timing wise, but the sound is very light. It's like, you know, like slapping cheeks of someone who's passed out. Like it's like a
yeah
type of sound, but the motion is like a full arm swing.
It's like a full arm slap, yeah.
If what it was she was hysterical and I was like, hey, Tita, like that would be fine. Like a tap, really. If it was that kind of a thing, like that would be fine if he was trying to like, you know, get her attention or whatever, like, and she was freaking out. I'm not sure that's the best way to deal with hysteria. I don't know, but it wouldn't be an ethically objectionable thing. But the whole arm swing and then her head, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I feel like probably they were focus testing and this scene they were like, that's a bit much. So they swapped out the sound effect for a lighter slap. But this is Trails and this is Falcom, so they're not going to budget for a whole extra animation to replace that slap.
I guess not.
What I am looking forward to, I can just picture in my head people doing like fan cam remixes of that shot of just like slap, 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 swapping sides, slap, slap. It's going to be great. Upside down slap. Disco colored lights, like the, I don't know what it's called, the cat. That cat. The spinning cat?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I know.
I barely know what it is, so... Anyway, we have to make a choice. Now, you've played this previously, so you had previously done the Agate route.
I did, and so I did Shara.
So we're both getting new content.
Yes.
I did do a quick Google just to say, like, what's the difference, you know? Because I wasn't sure if this was actually going to branch the story or anything, because it doesn't really give you any information.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you what to expect.
It's mostly flavor text. It's just like different interactions. In my searches, 2 different locations said that Agate was a lot of fun because of his interpersonal reactions with another party member that are unique to this sort of whatever section length amount of time it'll be before I also get to hang out with Shara later on. Because I'm assuming I'm not going to be locked out of the Shara Palace for the entire game. It's just for now.
The Shara Palace. All the boys want the Shara Palace. They all want access. That's what I learned from my chapter, but that's what we'll get there in a little bit.
I am excited to hear because, I was very surprised by Agate's kind of interactions with Estelle through this section.
Yeah.
But so after we make our decision, they're very chill with it. No one else minds, and they put the decision on Estelle. The 2 bracers like, hey, we've worked with both of you. Like, it's chill either way. You guys decide. And then Annalise says, no, Estelle, you pick.
Because you're the baby.
Sounds like a cop-out at first, but then she's like, no, you're just starting off. You need to experience different styles of bracer so that you can formulate your approach to this job. So
exactly.
In that same way, I was like, okay, well, narratively, I've spent a lot of time with Shara in Estelle's life.
Yes.
Like, she knows what kind of bracer Shara is. So, of course, I'm going to pick Agate because he is this unknown known. And it's like, he's very famous. He's beloved, as we've seen him interacting with other people. Everyone knows him. He knows everyone's names.
Mm-hmm. He either has beef with or is friends with, like, everyone.
Yeah, like, he has a connection to every person. But we only know him as this, like, gruff arsehole who just, like, shows up, belittles us, and leaves.
Yeah.
So I was excited to learn more about him, and learn I did. But for now, it is time to separate off. So my squad, the Red Menaces, depart for our job. You and the Silver Streak, I assume, did the same.
Yeah, so we went and we saw Annalise and Agate off at the airship. Did you guys see your guys off as well?
Yes, we did. I also liked that Annalise has a line that she's very excited to work with Shara again if you pick to go with Agate. And I was like, yeah, it's nice they get to hang out again after they had their shopping trip at the end of last game. But yes, we saw them off at the airship, and what a scene.
Did Shara give a speech of any kind before the thing that we're about to talk about?
She did. She mentions her tarot reading.
Ooh.
My tarot tells me that the bond between you and Joshua has not been severed yet.
Ooh. Was that all she said?
I think there was a bit more, but that was kind of the only line that I...
Because I have a little Agate speech.
Oh, really? No, Agate didn't give any kind of speech on my thing, I believe.
As they're leaving, Agate gives Estelle some advice. He says... There's gonna be, and then he pauses and goes, oh no, he says there's gonna be like some difficult stuff coming ahead, like some difficult decisions, something like that. So he's like, there's gonna be some trials and tribulations type of thing. And then he goes, remember, you're a woman too. You can rely on others and admit your weaknesses. And Estelle goes, what? What the hell? Are you making fun of me because I'm a girl? And that's what I'm thinking too. I'm like, what the fuck, Agate? And then he goes, no, that ain't. Damn it, I'm bad at this. Look, men are big dumb oafs who are too friggin' stupid to ask for help for their own good 95% of the time. Me, your old man, Joshua. We're all like that. Society kinda expects it, We're all stubborn idiots, for better or worse. You can't change that no matter what you do. My point is, there's no reason for you, a woman, to get stuck thinking like that. Don't forget to ask others for help when you need it. You've got a lot of friends out there, make use of them.
Wow,
and I'm like, you really turned that around, Agate.
Damn.
Annalise says, even Agate can be nice to girls, sorta. Adios does grant miracles. But, it's still not ideal, but it's very different from how it started out.
He didn't give that whole speech in my version, but the mention of men being big dumb oafs who can't ask for help, I do remember getting some version of that line a bit later on. So he kind of references the same thing, even if he doesn't give his full TED talk.
It's so funny to me that he starts out and it's like, he says his thing, and Estelle's like, are you saying women suck? And he goes, no, I'm saying men suck.
Women have feelings, brackets, positive.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it is Annalise's turn to speak.
First, we learn that the reason she went to training camp was because Shara asked her, because she thought Estelle could do with having someone else there who doesn't really know, her Joshua together, doesn't have that preconceived, she's met them before, but doesn't really know them, so it was actually Shara's idea for Annalise to go and camp. And Annalise was like, I also wanted the training, but yes, I did go because Shara asked me to go with you.
But then, Annalise works up the courage to ask something of Estelle, and I screenshotted every single moment of this interaction over and over and over again. Fun fact, taking too many screenshots on the latte laptop does slow it down.
Oh my god.
Annalise says, I like to think we're already friends, but I'd like it if you and me, Estelle, if we became something more. Estelle responds with the widest spaced ellipsis I have ever seen in my whole entire life.
It's amazing.
Left justified, right justified, and center justified in her text box. And has that wonderful, dead-eyed, mouth slightly open stare that she has for all of her, mental disconnect moments. And she's like, what? Sherazad's surprised as well. Annalise says, no, don't try to stop me, Shara. I'm serious. I'm absolutely sure about this. Agate sort of goes, wow, right here in public? You've got to be kidding me. Just sort of off to the side. And then Annalise says, I'm a few years older than you, Estelle, but we've been at the guild about the same amount of time. And you know what? Age doesn't matter when it comes to something like this. So, what do you think? And she's smiling and blushing a little bit. Estelle, gay panic from Estelle. She's stumbling. She's like, I'm really happy, and I think my heart is racing out of my chest, but this is kind of a surprise to say the least.
It's like the weirdest version of game mechanic where she's like, actually, like, I'm really flattered and I'm kind of excited, but also I'm really confused. I don't know what's happening. Like, it's very, like, it's yeah, it's just like, it's cute.
Yeah, and it's great because she's immediately spinning through the logic of it. She goes, besides, there's Joshua, and there's kind of some issues on a couple of fronts, or more than a couple, or rather, I don't. And it just reminds me of the scene in Bob's Burgers where Bob actually accidentally is flirting with the deli counter man who keeps selling him turkeys for Thanksgiving, and eventually he's like, "Do you want to go out?" He's like, "Oh no, you're too good for me," and leaves. And Annalise is confused with what Joshua has to do with it, and then just like, what problems would there be on a couple of fronts if we became rivals? And Estelle almost seems disappointed. She's like, rivals? That's what you meant? Okay. And then immediately switches tack. She says, I, Estelle Bright, hereby recognize you as my rival, Annalise Elfeed. Consider the gauntlet thrown in your face even.
So cute.
So, because you know what? Estelle understands what an enemies to lovers arc is, and she can wait.
I love that it is kind of a funny, like, meta commentary on how, like, in Japanese media, rivals is always, like, homoerotic subtext dialed up to the max.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you've got, like, Joker and Akechi are always, like, my rival. So the whole rivals thing, it is kind of a funny, like, meta joke on that. But yeah, we were so close.
It is wild because there are like gay fake out interactions later in the series, but honestly, none of them are ever played as tongue in cheek as this.
Yeah. No, it's very heavy.
They really commit to the bit up until the last second, and I kudos to the translation team who brought that to life in English.
Yeah.
I loved it. But anyway, Estelle's got her enemy locked in and her lover route secured. But it's time for Shara and Annalise to take off. And actually, this is when Agate said a line that kind of mirrored his little speech in your version.
Oh.
When he's asking, like, do you want to, like, get ready before we go catch our flight? He's like, guys just charge into things without any planning, you see? Girls are the ones who actually bother preparing and whatnot. I kind of got the Cliff's Notes version. He's
Yes.
like, yeah, I think in between games, Agate went to
Gender sensitivity class?
how to become a feminist seminar. He's really, like, taking it to heart and is impressing me.
He's like, I'm not a misogynist, I'm just an asshole.
Yeah. But also, fuck you, Agate, for reading me for my no prep approach to RPGs. He's like, do you want to get ready? Because men do nothing. And I was like, how dare you judge me for not buying a single healing item throughout the last game ever? I didn't need to. Don't judge me. That's why I couldn't remember how much the EP restore items were last week, because I never bought a single one.
They're, like, so expensive. I wanted to buy some and I had no money for them this week. That's neither here nor there. I was just sad because I was, like, so broke this episode. I was so broke in this chapter. It was so bad.
I was so broke, yeah.
It was insane.
I spent most of this episode with 15 mirror in my pocket, literally.
I was around there. I was so low. I had, like, enough mirror to rest of the hotel. And that was, like, barely. I couldn't buy the food stuff. I had to go fishing so that I could then sell my fish. And then I had to, like, convert some things just to buy, like, the unique food items. It was really dire.
I had to sell my belongings to stay at the hotel. I couldn't afford it.
Oh gosh. Things are dire.
That was rough. Also, we'll get to the fishing minigame.
Oh yeah.
For now, before boarding our flight, I did a quick wander around the airport, because you can't actually leave to go back to town.
Right.
Tiffany, one of the mechanics, she was in a bunch of stuff last game.
Oh yeah.
She's mad for some reason that is unclear. She's like, oh, airships are coming. First the Cecilia, now the Linde. And she's really mad about it.
Oh, I know why. Because the other person she's talking to can't remember what's happening. As, like, clearly incompetent at the job. He's like, so an airship, schedule, coming. She's like, the Linde is coming next. And after that, this is, like, she's yelling the schedule at him because he can't remember what the fuck's going on.
Oh, okay.
So she's mad at the incompetence.
Okay, because I thought for a second that she was mad because the airships are running again. And she's like, fuck, it's so busy now that I actually have to do my job. And
that would have been funny, but no, she's mad that the other person can't fucking remember.
There's another mechanic downstairs near that airship that they're in front of, which I think is the Linde.
Oh no, that's the Arceus park down there.
Oh, it's the Arce. Okay, yes. And he's like, yes, I'm so excited. Soon we'll have the new parts, the new engine. It's so close.
Yeah, some of the NPCs were like, oh my god, that's the Queen's ship. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
there wasn't really much running around, but I headed into the office to buy my tickets and ran into some friends. Did you meet anyone else out and about before heading in?
Let me see. I don't think so. Just some folks were commenting on the RSA being parked there and how it was impressive.
Yeah.
But that's about all.
In the ticket office, there's a fight going on. There's a bespectacled woman who's mad at an imperial noble, but she calls him out for being an imperial noble. In this interaction, he's quickly revealed to be Lord Ambassador Davil Cranar, which is...
That's the name.
That's a name. I like how we have, like, Joshua and then Cranar.
Yeah.
But Mulavander is also there.
They mentioned some kind of engine provision deal. The Calvard lady is like, you Erebonians are barbaric. You invaded Liberl, this tiny innocent country. And then the Erebonian dude is like, okay, so rich of you, Calvard. You didn't send a single soldier to help. You just like to sit back and pretend you're an ally, but you won't put anything material on the line. You're not actually caring. And I'm like, okay, that's like some weirdly accurate. Like, I was like, that feels awfully relevant to be like, oh, you spout like rhetoric about peace and condemning other countries, but you won't actually put anything on the line to like stop other countries from harming. I was like, that hits a little close to home.
Yeah. The woman is revealed to be the ambassador for Calvard, Elsa Cochran. So it's wild that these two ambassadors are having a political fight just out in public. That's not a sense of decorum that an ambassador should have.
Nope.
So after they sort of get shut down by Vander stepping in to say, like...
Maybe not here.
Yeah, not here. Like, you are grown adults. Like, think. But he explains, after they leave, and Estelle and, in my case, Agate wander over to say hi, they were arguing about an airship engine deal where both countries were to get one from Liberl because Queen Alicia wants to make a point of sharing airship tech, not sort of withholding it for just her country, because she wants to make life easier for everybody.
Yeah, she's great.
So Estelle asked after Olivier in my version, and Vander mentions that, oh yeah, that reprobate, he's still around. He's actually on his way to Elmo to go to the hot springs.
I got a little update because apparently he invited Shara to join him in Elmo to the hot springs.
Oh.
But Shara could not. Shara was too busy. Estelle is freaked the fuck out about the fact that he invited her. He's like, what, you mean he invited you? Like, invited you? And Shara's like, with him, it's impossible to tell. And then she goes, I was too busy. She goes, normally I'd have happily abused his wallet for my lodging costs and kept him up all night. Drinking, that is.
Okay, honey.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was curious to see if Cheryl would have more to say the moment the O topic came up.
Yeah.
But with that sort of out of the way, Vander kind of heads off. He's like, yeah, I gotta be somewhere by. So I bought my tickets, or tried to buy my tickets, only to find that good guy Elnan had pre-prepped them and had them waiting at the counter for us. That man is always on top of it.
Yeah.
He's the executive assistant you wish you had.
Exactly.
But I got our tickets, and then no one really had anything new to say as far as I could tell, so I just got on the airship.
I just had a couple of other comments. So first, when the two ambassadors were fighting, after they left and we said hi to Mueller, Shara just goes, how do a pair of whiny children like those two manage diplomatic negotiations, I wonder? Which is exactly what we were saying. But also, after Mueller leaves, Shara comments that he's such a serious kind of fellow to keep Olivier's company, but says that he's handsome and manly and that she would like to share a bottle of wine or 3 with him sometime.
She's a thirsty lady.
And then Estelle goes, oh, well, that would be an international disaster. And then she goes, oh, speaking of international disasters, did you meet up with Olivier after I left? And that's when she says about the thing about Elmo, Hot Springs. But that's just the best fucking line. That's
excellent. I'm just glad that he's still in country, because that means the odds of running into him are much higher.
Thank God.
He always shows up whenever he feels like it, but if I need to find a steamy, horny musician, I know which town to head to.
So yeah, but at that point there was no one else in dock, so I got aboard the Linde.
Yeah.
And on the Linde, the two, Shara and Estelle are out on the deck, and they comment on what a beautiful day it is, how, tourism must be booming in Ruan with the weather so great. And Shara's like, well, that's not the biggest thing going on there, because the mayoral elections are happening after we arrested after you, Estelle and Joshua arrested Delmore. Estelle kind of plays down her role in it, and Shara tells her not to be so humble, that, what she did was great. You make your teacher proud, honey. It's very cute. And then they talk a bit about the other party members from FC. Estelle clearly misses them. She kind of names a few of them and is like, wonder where they are. I haven't seen them since the Queen's birthday. We learned that Jin is apparently back in Calvard. He had to go back for work.
Yep.
Apparently, Cassius and Shara told Tita and Professor Russell what happened after Estelle left, and Tita's eyes filled with tears, and then she said, Estelle's working so hard, I can't just sit here and cry. She taught me that, which is very cute. And Estelle says that Shara's going to make her cry. What did Estelle and Agate talk about?
So similar sort of major story beats. They also mentioned that there are elections going on in Ruan to replace Dalmor. Agate references that he heard all about that adventure through Jean, the receptionist at the Ruan Bracer Guild.
He was there for some of it, for catching Sexy Terry Gilbert at least.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, the rest of it I got filled in from Jean. He does mention that Jin's gone back to Calvard. For him, he says that the kid and the old man are worried about you, so you should check in sometime.
Much less heartfelt way of talking about it, but yes, accurate.
A little less heartfelt, but I'm starting to get a sense that that kind of thing is affection from Agate.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
You are the kid to me. You are the old man to me.
Yes.
You are my old man and kid.
Yeah.
Other than that, there wasn't really anything unique that I made note of, so I just started wandering around. Agate said he was going to go off and sit in his seat.
Shara said that her old bones had to sit down, but I was like, you're like 23, Shara, shut up.
Yeah, like Agate has some sort of stumble over his words, and he's like, whatever, I'm just going to go sit down. When I checked on him later, he was fast asleep, so he just like took a nap in his chair. There were a couple of interesting people on the flight.
There were.
That I checked in with. On the deck, hiding in a corner, a scientist named Santos. He's a scientist who was sent by the History Museum to check on the towers.
PTSD flashbacks ensue.
Mm.
I can't trust a professor researching those towers.
Sepia-tone screenshots wheeling through my mind of why this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
But yes, he mentions that they're checking on the towers because there were odd phenomena during the Queen's birthday. Mm-hmm. He's on his way to Ruan first to go to Saffirl Tower is the one near there, to check it out. Another passenger in the seats scoffed at the Capuas because they have no ship. It's like, they're no threat now without a ship. Mm-hmm. What are they going to do? It's like, yeah, what are they going to do? Flap their arms real hard and run us down with wishes?
I saw that. Yeah.
Just everyone reading the Capuas at this point. Who else? Oh, Orvid is on board. He's hanging out in the observation gallery.
Yeah, the Mushroom Man.
Mr. Mushrooms. And I was just like, oh god, this man is going to send us on some bullshit at some point, isn't he? And the last person I've noticed was Lloyd. Not Lloyd the Crossbell Man. The fishing man.
Yes.
He gave us a fishing pole and a bait because once again he's aggressively recruiting for the Fisherman's Guild.
He really is.
He's like, I remember how you turned me down for fishing last time. Have this fishing rod and a handful of worms. Bye.
Yeah. I had a couple of other encounters up there on the ship, or people I noticed at least. So the first was just some old lady sitting there who says, when I was young, the only way to get around was a long, hard trip on the roads. You have it so easy these days, which I thought was just very funny. For coming from FC. Like, man, back in my day, we had to walk through all of the borough. Like, yeah, I know. That was my day too.
Yeah, bitch.
The election candidates are the harbor manager, who I marked down in FC. I was like, oh, somebody said that he wanted Portos to become mayor, and now he's one of the candidates. And the hotel manager. We also learned that there's a non-aggression pact in the works that Queen Alicia is stewarding with Arabonia. That's also mentioned in the newspaper, but some folks are mentioning it, which is pretty cool. And then for me, there were two things that came up. So I'll end with the biggest one. There was a tourist who said that, tourist from Calvard, who said that airships are still super rare in Calvard, so his mind is blown that civilians are just casually using airships because, like, that would never happen in Calvard.
Oh, yeah.
And then the biggest thing happened was, so I went into the cockpit type thing, and the captain recognizes Estelle from when she rescued him from the Sky Bandits in the last game. She rescued him and his crew, and they chat, but then we learned something really, truly shocking. Which is that when Cassius got off the Linde, he leapt from a moving airship.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, did you ever find your dad? And so I was like, yeah, he showed up eventually after way too long. She's like, oh, good. I was kind of worried about, the kind of man who would leap from a moving airship. And I was like, okay, how did you not immediately remember him when I started asking about a guy? Like, because it took a while for them to be like, oh, yeah, there was a guy who got off early. Like, he did not just get off early. He leapt off of a moving airship.
My God.
Cassius, what are you doing?
My dad, Cassius Superhero Landing Bright.
My God.
Insane. Like, my guy, come on, you're old. If Cher is talking about her old bones, you should be
Yeah.
like in hospice.
The other thing is Cher was not asleep when I went and saw her. She was just like, oh, just don't forget to get off at Ruan. Don't get so caught up that you forget to get off the airship when it lands in Ruan. So
yeah, no, I could have that same line. I think that's what he said when he stormed off to his seat initially.
She said that initially, and then she reminded me when I went and talked to her.
That it's time to land in Ruan.
This ought to perk you up.
And we're in the guild. We're talking to Jean again. Hi, Jean. He talks a bit about the election, how it's, in full swing. It's a big deal. Everyone's hyped up about it. But what he wants us to investigate. He's kind of embarrassed to say, but apparently there have been some ghost sightings that he wants us to investigate. Specifically, a white shadow at night. Estelle is scared of this, but denies it when Jean and Cher are like, wait, are you scared? And she goes,
yes.
You think Estelle, the coup breaker, hero of Liberl, would be afraid of ghosts? No way! No how! No! And then she goes, sorry, I am afraid of ghosts. A little.
I love that for her.
Which, kind of a maturity. The first line is totally what she would say in FC, but then by the end she's like, no, I am kind of scared of ghosts. Like,
that is some growth from Estelle. It's like, no, a bracer doesn't have to be fearless. A bracer has to be realistic about the challenges ahead of them. And so she's like, I'm fine. I don't need anything. This freaks me out. Like,
yeah, Jean offers. He's like, you don't have to take it. Like, if you like, and Cher says, no, Estelle, I think we should take this. She goes, don't worry, your big sister will make it all better, with a heart emoji. And then she points out that this is exactly the kind of weird, suspicious shit they're supposed to be investigating as they try to investigate the society.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, that's a really good point. So there's 3 places we're going to have to go, or 3 sightings, and so 3 people we're going to have to interview. One is a guard at the Airleton checkpoint, one is a member of the Ravens gang, and one is an orphan at Manoria Orphanage, which has been rebuilt.
yes.
So did Agate have any interesting lines there?
Nothing I really noted. At this point, he just kind of echoed the same. It's like, hey, yeah, we're looking for weird shit. This is weird shit. Let's go look at it. They're like, okay, we'll hit up the Ravens first because they're here in town. And then Estelle's excited to go check in on the orphanage and see how everyone's doing.
As we walk through Ruan, there's all these like election barkers type thing around the corner. Like as you go, there's just speech bubbles that show up for people like, vote for Norman or vote for Portos or whatever. And then all the tourists in town are complaining about how loud the election campaigners are.
So are the residents.
Oh yeah, the residents too. Like everyone's just complaining.
Everyone's like, I'm so sick of these barkers. And I can understand why, because when you do walk past them, they are saying nothing. They're like, vote for Portos. Portos for mayor. Portos. Portos. Mayor Portos.
There's no substance
Well, what is
to
your
what
platform?
they're saying. It's like very much, it's baby's first election. They haven't figured out platforms yet. They just figured out to yell the name. It's like name retention. You just have to be, they'll just vote for whatever name they recognize most.
Yeah, just standing in the city square going like, Portos. Portos is a man. Portos could be the mayor. Portos is an option.
Little too close to, our elections in this modern day rely a lot on exposure as opposed to platforms.
But we know that they have platforms.
Yes, they do.
Portos is all about like revitalizing the harbor and like the shipping industry.
The industry.
While the other candidate, Mr.
Norman's into tourism.
Yeah, he wants to bump up tourism, whereas Portos is kind of like, he doesn't love the tourism. He wants to like reinvigorate the core industry that made Ruan the town it is.
Yeah.
Norman doesn't seem to have anything against the harbor industry. Oh no, he's talking about like gentrifying it basically.
I think that Dalmor was all about, but he's, as far as we've seen so far, he doesn't seem to be evil, burn down an orphanage to gentrify it the way that Dalmor was, but he does follow, as far as we've seen so far.
He's a little evil, I will say, because before getting to any of the plot points, I did like a whip around to see what's going on in town. I found Portos in the top floor of the hotel before I realized that was his campaign headquarters.
Oh, Norman.
Norman. Portos is just so much fun to say because his name is his job.
It is.
But Norman, who has the normal job, he's using the penthouse suite of his own hotel as his campaign headquarters. And when I went up there, I talked to him and the assistant who's there's with him. And he's just like, yeah, my son is freaking out. He saw something. He's like having a bad time and he's locked himself in his room and he refuses to come out. But that's his problem. The fuck?
Yeah, no, he doesn't seem like a good guy. He's just, as far as we know, he's not as evil as Dalmor, but he does not seem like a great guy. But that's also a really high bar. Burning down an orphanage with the orphans inside is about as bad as it gets.
having no empathy for your own child is pretty rough.
It's pretty bad.
Actually, what did you find around town to begin with?
Well, I went to the Dalmore estate and talked to the gardener again, whose name I didn't know his last name is Gartner.
Gartner the gardener, yeah. Everyone in Ruan is named after their job.
Yep, truly. But he comments that he really loves his job and that he doesn't actually technically know if he still has it, but he just keeps doing it because no one's told him otherwise. I later went into when I went in, I found a maid inside the mansion, and she said that the military is using it right now for investigations, and they've kept all the staff on. So he is still getting paid, but he's not sure, if he's still employed.
I was worried last game.
But even this game, he's like, no one's told me to stop working, so I'm still working, but I don't know for sure that I'm still employed. It's been 2 months. It was one thing when the day after, you're like, I came to work, but I'm not totally sure that I'm supposed to. 2 months later, you should have checked it.
Trust but verify, you know?
Yeah. The other thing that I noticed is that the casino is done renovations and is now open and filled with minigames.
Yes.
It's a pretty rudimentary thing, but it's there. I have flashback issues there because last time I played through the game, I had to get Royal Flush and whatever's perfect in Blackjack. I had to get it perfect at everything in order to get an achievement, and I spent hours doing save states there and dying. So I'm slightly traumatized in that place, but it's not the end of the world.
I did stop in at the casino as well. I don't love casino minigames. I'm really tired of them because they are such
I usually love them, but
they're such a crapshoot, especially when you're trying to achieve it or something. So I walked in, I checked what the prizes were. I bought enough medals to get volume 2 of Gambler Jack, the collectible novel, and then I walked straight back out again. I'm sure I'll revisit it at some point.
Oh yeah, the achievement I mentioned, it's worth foreshadowing ahead of time. To get the final volume of Gambler Jack, you need to get perfect everything in the casino.
Oh no.
So for listeners, if that's what you want, now you'll have a chance again. It doesn't have to be in this chapter.
Okay.
That is a thing. But right, the other dialogue I found that was funny was O'Neill in the the general store is talking about elections, and he says that in the world, there are countries that, unlike us, vote on who they don't like instead. Apparently, there, the unpopular person with the most votes is kicked off the council. That might be a reasonable system in its own way. And that made me laugh. But then I'm like, you know what? I think election turnout might be higher if it was vote for who you hate the most to get them out, rather than vote for who you like the most. Because people will always be like, well, I don't like any candidate. I'm like, okay, well, vote for the... You know who you hate most, so if we just all voted for who we hated most to not win, maybe people would vote more. He might have a point.
The reverse popularity contest is a pretty solid concept. You could do worse. But, so that was about the highlights for Ruan, roundabouts in Ruan?
Until I went to the warehouse area, yeah.
I got a couple that I enjoyed. One was Murray, the boat owner, whose boat we borrowed to chase the mayor last game.
Oh, right. I didn't talk to everyone.
I was trying to do a bit of everything because I usually miss folks. So at least on initial arrival, I was doing a whip round. So Murray was really happy to see us. He asked if we want to go on another boat ride. Not really anything consequence. I just really enjoyed, at this point, I was like, Estelle really has a rapport with everyone across the country at this point. She met everyone who lives here last game.
Yeah.
And there's been so many interactions already where it's just oh, hey, it's you. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Just immediately engaged. And everyone's like, oh, you're a big bracer now. Congratulations. It's all very nice. And Estelle, every time, is very sort of deferential. She's like, oh, I'm still learning. I'm not the best yet.
Yeah.
But it's feeling a bit more humility rather than imposter syndrome. So hopefully the more people say that they're happy to see her, the more confidence she will get.
Fingers crossed.
At the mayor's house, I did notice another thing. One of the soldiers say that they have the place locked down because it's going to be converted into the town hall after the elections. It's no longer going to be the mayor's house. And I think that was all I caught before we headed on to the docks to go to see the ravens.
And on the way there, we get stopped by Lloyd again, who really wants us to fucking fish. And he makes us stop what we're doing and go to a fishing spot. And Matt's face is so unamused. I'm gonna let you take it away.
Fishing game bad.
It's just a nothing game. There's nothing to it.
It's nothing. It doesn't clearly indicate when to stop. I tried fishing 4 times and I didn't hook the fish any time.
Oh, so...
Trying to hit it on the exclamation mark or just before or as it was starting to animate or when it was fully animated, I couldn't hook a single fish. It's crazy.
That's so weird.
So I was just well, that's something I'm not going to engage with until I absolutely have to.
Well, I'm sorry that was your experience.
Yeah, I've just been accumulating worms and fish and shrimplings to eventually use, I guess.
Yeah. I hate the final fish of this game, like the big one. I hate trying to catch it because it's annoying. But the rest of it, I don't really mind. Like it's boring, but I kind of enjoy it. I find I get caught up in just like fishing for a while. Whenever I'm playing. It's really more of a sound cue than it is a visual cue.
They've kind of kept the imagery similar throughout a lot of the Trails games. You throw the rod, you get like a speech bubble above your character's heads, like ... interrupted by an exclamation mark when the fish is like bit the line, and that's when you're meant to hook it. And then some games will have a follow-up mini game where you have to like wear down their stamina or whatever. I don't actually know if there is one in this game. I didn't get that far.
It's you catch it if you hit it at the right time at the exclamation point, you immediately catch it. It's not as in depth as the more interesting games they come up with later.
It was just a little annoying to me because like they show you how to find a fishing spot,
For sure.
but they don't actually walk you through fishing. So not my favorite. I've had more fun with other fishing games.
Fair enough.
But eventually, I'm sure a side quest or a main quest will require me to engage with this, and I'll give it another go.
I don't remember if that does happen or not, so I can't. Except that I hope if you have to engage with it again, you have a better time.
Thank you.
But then I went to the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ravens are complaining amongst themselves when we walk in about how all the monsters are really tough now. And one of them refers to them as Fuggin monsters, Fuggin, which I thought was very funny. Right, so on my side of things, with Shira, Shira tries to flirt with them a bit. Like, she just naturally flirts with everyone. And Estelle goes, Shira, please don't flirt with the criminal element. And then she follows up with, they don't need to be hit over the head with how bad their lady situation is, for starters.
And I'm sure Shira's just standing there like, don't flirt? Her head cocking to the side like a confused dog.
She's like, that's how people talk. That's just how I communicate.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the three sort of heads of the Ravens, Dean, Rocco, and Raish, did not have face cards before, did they? They were unprofile pictured.
I guess not. Yeah, I guess in the first game they didn't. There are a lot of characters got profile art in this game that didn't have it in the first game.
Yeah.
Same with, I think, the Orphanage kids later on didn't all have art. Only, like, Clem.
Yeah. Because I think the art style is very slightly different in a way that makes them stand out. Like maybe it's just the way that the coloration of the profile pictures is done. But it sort of stood out to me because for anyone who doesn't remember, these are the three who were like the mini bosses in fights that we kept fighting. They were the ones who would like res each other and like do sort of boosting shouts to each other and damaging shouts to us. But for my version, when we walk in, everyone's like, oh, it's that bracer chick, and oh, fuck, it's Agate. Because Agate is a former Raven, as we learnt. So, not to mention, he also, like, picked up a man and threw him across the room to hit the ceiling last game.
Yes, he did terrorize them.
One of the guys does mention, is like, I really couldn't handle being thrown again. I'm so glad that this went better. One of them does call him a law whore, though.
What? Lore?
Let me get that through my accent. A law whore. He is a whore for the law.
L-A-W law. Okay. I was thinking lore like the way I love lore. Like, I love to learn about the lore of Zemuria. I was like caught up in like, I'm a lore whore, but no, a law whore. Yeah, I get it. I apologize for discriminating against your accent.
He is a slut for the governing policies, if that makes it a little bit clearer.
Yikes.
Welcome to multicultural podcasting with me, the white man. I did take note, after this, they're like, we don't want to help you because you're a slut for governing policy. And one of them, I can't remember which, I think it's Rocco. He goes, oh, well, fight us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, if you beat us, we'll tell you. But if not, we get to beat the crap out of you because fight us. That's how we fix things. And it was that point that I noticed that the battle transition, like the new battle transition, the smash effect is so cool.
It is.
But yeah, the new transition where sort of the screen shatters with like all these like blue backdrops and then all the pieces move but carry the piece of the screen with them. It looks so good.
It's very cool.
It's like Final Fantasy VIII. It makes me feel like we've really taken an uptick in graphical quality. I wonder if that's a new addition in the PC things or if the PSP version was capable of the same, because
I'd imagine the PSP version does that too.
I don't
because the upgrade, there's no upgrades other than turbo mode. Like they made a remaster for Vita
Evolution,
but that has different art, completely different art and everything, and that's only Japanese. I mean, there's a fan translation, but was only ever released in Japanese. I don't think they made like updates for the PC version because the updated version that they made was that one. This was originally a PC game, actually.
Yeah.
It's just at the same time as PSP, and the ports to PSP, but it was PC before PSP, both this and FC, in Japanese.
Also, as a fun aside, apparently at least some of the soundtrack for Once chapter is being pulled from the revised soundtrack on that Evolution version. So we're going to get some different compositions of songs.
Yes, which I've heard mixed things about. Like some people don't like those as much, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll be good. So for us, the entering a fight thing went not entirely the same, but similarly. We did mention Agate and scare them by mentioning that we'll tell Agate that they're pulling shit. They got scared. But basically, we asked for the info, and the guys go, okay, we'll tell you on one condition. And Cher's like, oh, maybe I went overboard with my flirting. Like, she clearly thinks the condition's about her. And then they want to fight, and she's shocked. She's like, I wasn't expecting this to be the one condition. She clearly thought it was because they were in love with her. But she's like, okay, they want to fight because they're like, we want to, avenge ourselves for losing to you at the martial arts tournament. So it's not like we want to fight because we want to beat you. Like, it's more like, yeah, we want another chance against you. So Cher's like, okay, and she pulls out her whip, and the Ravens are freaked out by the whip. They're like, holy shit, what the fuck, a whip? And it's like the first people in this universe to respond normally to seeing somebody wielding an actual whip. Like, they are scary.
Interestingly, one of the screenshots I had was in the weapons shop, because upstairs I noticed that there's an example of everyone's weapon, including the whip. So you see Agate's heavy blade and Cher's whip up on the wall alongside the rest of the swords and daggers and guns and stuff. So it's not a surprising weapon.
But yeah, then Cher says, big sis will show you how the adults play. And the Ravens try to back out. They're like, no, maybe we don't want to fight you after all. And Cher goes, it'll only be your spines. I'm sure they'll grow back. With a heart emoji after.
Shera.
And I'm like, Shera, why are you a sadist? An actual sadist.
She needs to chill. She needs to find somewhere between 0 and 100, I think, is the problem.
That's what Estelle says to her in a minute, kind of. Not exactly,
really?
But after the fight, Shera's mocking them for not giving her enough. Like, oh, you should have tried your best. Oh, whatever. Like, that kind of thing. And Estelle goes, Shera, nobody has enough energy to keep up with you. Which, is very funny that this is twice in 2 chapters that Estelle comments that somebody else has a shitload of energy. But also, in terms of the type of energy Shera has, she's absolutely, like, off the charts and nobody can keep up. Like, she needs to learn to chill. So yeah, I did the fight. It's annoying because
it's fine, yeah.
One of them can res the others and it's pain, but I don't think it's the same as it's always been. It's just they're always a pain. Afterwards, Estelle suggested the Ravens should become bracers. Did she do that on you guys?
Yeah, she does. She's like, hey, like, you guys are strong. You could be bracers. Agate sort of, like, calls out. It's like, being strong isn't the only thing. They also need to, like...
Shera says that, too.
Follow the rules and, like do the right thing. And she's like, yeah, well, I don't know.
The guys are kind of disappointed when Shera says it. Like, oh, yeah, I guess it was too good to be true. Like, for a second, they were like, we could be bracers. And then they were like, oh, cruel reality. We can't after all. And I was like, oh.
You can, though. You just have to try.
It's just that you need to do, you're not immediately qualified. Like, you need to train. Everyone needs to train. Everyone needs to learn to do a new job. Like, you don't immediately have every skill you need on the first day, but you have potential.
In any case, once they've admitted defeat because we beat the hell out of them, they admit that the Belden is the one who saw the white shadow, but he's not there at the moment because he's been holed up at home for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so I
did run into him earlier, actually. I forgot to mention that. He was just sighing and wouldn't do anything else.
I don't think I went to the house because I went into every house. But I don't think I talked to him.
He was just like, sigh.
But yeah, I immediately knew, oh, okay, so the kid who's, like, holed up in his room is probably this kid who's holed up in his room. So I was like, oh, so your dad is the mayor candidate.
Yeah, it's a rough time.
That means his name is Norman his first name, or is it one of these cases where they give his surname as the name? Because I think Vogt is the same.
I don't think we know.
But potentially his name is Belden Norman. But yeah, so I knew pretty much straight away that Belden was the one to look. Someone mentions that it's the house next to the mayor's house.
Yes. Or to the old mayor's house. Yeah, like Delmore Estate. Before I left, I did talk to the other Ravens, the ones who I didn't fight. And they were basically all just like, glad we didn't get wrapped up in that fight. Like, glad that we didn't have to go and back them up or whatever. One of them is like, why do thugs keep picking fights when they always end up getting beat? Which feels like a video game meta commentary, but it was funny.
Yeah. I had noted that one of the Ravens even says that they're always picking fights, but they always lose.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think you found your common denominator, my guy.
Yes.
But yeah, over at Belden's house, I went upstairs with Agate, who tries to scare a statement out of him, basically. He's like, tell us what you know. He goes full Batman.
Shara worked his mom real nice.
Oh.
Talked to the mom, and the mom, we're like, oh, we're here to talk to your son. Oh, is he in trouble? Oh, no, it's just he witnessed something, and we're abrasive, we need to talk to him, whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, he's been having a really hard time, with his dad's away all the time now, and he's not really talking about anything. He didn't say that he saw something scary. He's just been, whatever. And Shara's like, well, it sounds like he could really use a listening ear, maybe by somebody who's not involved in the rest of his life. So I think we could really help him. Like, she works the mom a bit.
Yeah, Agate kind of does the same. Like, he puts on his nice guy persona for mom, but then, and he's like, oh yeah, like,
he can be nice to mothers. How about that?
He's not in trouble, ma'am. We just wanted to talk to him about a weird thing he saw. But then as soon as we went upstairs to find Belden, Agate flips and he's like, swear to me! Like, full Batman. Full Batman.
Oh my god.
Estelle's like, chill. He can tell us. Like, he's already scared. So then he's like, oh yeah, I went outside at night because he was just like getting some fresh air.
Because he was hammered with all the ravens. They were all hammered and passed out in the warehouse.
That's right, yes, he was hammered at the warehouse, went outside to get some fresh air, and saw a figure in old-style clothes dancing in midair. It was just sort of spinning around, and then flew off northeast.
As one does.
As you do.
He told us the same thing, except that when we went upstairs, instead of scaring the info out of him, Shara tells Belden that if he tells her what he saw, she might do something nice for him. And Estelle goes, Shara, I've told you before that sex appeal is not a guild-approved weapon. And then after he gives a testimony, Shara gives him a peck on the cheek as a reward.
Oh, okay. Agate did not do that.
And then, yeah, I thought not. And he seems really re-energized. He's like, yeah, like, I'm not gonna be a thug anymore, and I'm gonna stop running away from my dad and, like, confront him and, like, try to live my life. Like, he's really, this is like a magical kiss. It really, like, renewed his spirit.
I mean, Shara, sexual favors lose their value if you give them to everybody. You're flooding the currency. It's losing value.
I mean, she's starting with a peck on the cheek. She does have there's a lot of space to escalate.
I suppose. I just see a very graphic future of, like, diminishing returns for Shara, where she's like, on meeting someone, has to do something very debasing just to start a conversation.
I think she's just enjoying herself when she floats. I don't think it's the only thing she has in the box. Like, she does terrorize people constantly, too. I think she just, like, enjoys seeing people, like, get weak at the knees.
Yeah, I mean, Agate is a slut for adhering to legal policy, and Shara's just a...
We're not gonna slut shame Shara. Come on
not
now.
Shame. It's slut identify, maybe.
She's just feeling herself.
She's lucky she got the title of the Silver Streak. Like, it could have been so much work. Sherazade, the open door.
Oh my god. I love you, Shara, and I embrace whatever you choose to do with your sexuality. Don't go, like, extracting false confessions from people.
Please don't. That's not good. You are so good about teaching us how to work within the rules of the braces. Don't be like, but also, if you just want to go on someone's bits to get the information you need, then that's fine too. That's the shareable school of bracing.
Oh my god. Brace yourself for this. Anyway, before leaving Ruan to go to the next step, Manoria Orphanage, I did pick up a side quest that was in town, because there were a bunch on the board, and there's one that I started. Go talk to Santos again, the guy from the airship. We find him in the hotel, and he wants us to take a picture of the doohickey on top of Saffron Tower, and he tells us they're active, the doohickeys. The ominous doohickeys that we kept talking about last game are active. Estelle's like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but there's not much to see. They're not active. And he goes, now they are.
You want to hear the funniest thing? I specifically made my notes about this quest and referred to it as the roof doohickey.
I did this because you called them the doohickey the whole time. I was like, in the podcast, it's canonically called the doohickey. I can't call it something else.
But yeah, he hands us a new, I can't remember the term from already, key action item thing, which is the orbital camera.
The camera. Very bulky, apparently.
Yeah, a huge camera because it's science, and that's how that works. So we have to go take a science photo up Saffron Tower of the roof doohickey at some point.
Yeah, and he's like, don't try to be fancy with it, just take it. Straight on.
It just immediately flashed me back to traveling through the towers with Dort in tow, which was doing her little photo move, Sweet Dorothy, to like blind the enemies, and she was so useful. And it was like, why don't you ask a photographer to take the photo? I mean, I realize braces do anything, but get a photographer.
I guess it's the whole getting to the top of Saffron Tower issue, but you could hire bracers to escort a photographer.
We know another scientist who did it, and he was fine. There was nothing else going on there.
Nothing going on there. fair. No other reasons he might have been uniquely qualified to climb those towers.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I went north of Ruan onto the road to the Gull Seaside Way, and I encountered excellent chest messages.
Yes, I went out there as well. I wanted to make a point to go as far as I could without going to the orphanage to see how much I was allowed to explore. So
Yes.
I've got a pretty wide-ranging stretch here. Yeah, the first thing I did as on getting out on the road was, well, actually, the first thing I did was got into a battle with a random monster and almost died.
Of course. I did that too, and then was like, oh, I should go heal.
It's like, oh, monster's tough, yeah. But I'd also just spent all my money to upgrade my weapons and gear.
Oh,
so I
dear.
literally had no money to buy like reviving bombs or healing items or anything.
Oh, God.
So I was just kind of like raw dogging it out into the wilderness and running back to Ruin for a little bit. It did level me up a few times during this stretch where I got to level 42 and Estelle gained True Hurricane, which
Yes, I got that much later, but yes.
is like wicked. Yeah, I think because I was like, I did a full lap and I was trying to like get all the monster entries and stuff. So I fought a few more fights than I needed to for now. Also because I kept getting bit in the ass by not grinding last time. So I'm trying to be a bit more conscientious about that. But yeah, first thing I did was offshoot down towards Janus Royal Academy because I wanted to see. I knew they wouldn't let me into the school, but I wanted to see what the excuse was. So I hiked down there, died a few times. There's a new enemy who's just a really, really big bird. Like it's twice as tall as you. I hate that bird.
The Roadrunner, it's called. Me too.
Oh God, is it? I've got screenshots of where I'd like pivoted the camera so you could see the fight. He was fighting alongside a tiny panda.
Yeah. Oh, that was fighting along with the baby gourd boars. It's new too, but it was fighting with the baby gourd boars.
I also saw the gourd boars.
According to its description, it has a taste for human flesh, the panda.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm still more mad about the bird. It's twice as tall as Estelle. It's so big.
The bird sucked. The panda doesn't suck, so didn't suck for me, but I'm wary of the fact that they specify that it has a taste for human blood.
Yeah, rude. So yeah, I went down the road, got to the academy. The sign on the door said it was closed for exams and that no one was allowed to come in. So I was like, all right, fair enough. Also, I found one of the quest monsters on this road as well. In the there's a little bit right before you get to the academy where the path splits and sort of turns into an O shape, going around a little chunk of forest. And it was sitting down the bottom side of that, kind of hidden in the trees, so I almost missed it the first time. But that one, what was its deal? Because in the quests for these two extermination things, it gives you a little bit of like pre-warning of what kind of monster it is.
Poisony snake, I believe.
Yes. The Vista Forest Road snake had like poison attack, so I'd already equipped poison gear, which made these two big weird snakes like an absolute pushover. I just eliminated them immediately.
Very nice.
But then I sort of made my way back.
I did him much later, because I knew we were gonna get another party member, and so I waited to do the big fighting until I had a third party member.
Yeah, I jumped the gun. I did all the fights without that third person, and you made the right choice because they fucking suck.
Yeah, they did suck. No, I did. Sorry, I did the wolf thing with just me and Shara because for some reason I was confused. I was like, oh, I can't progress without fighting this thing. But then I was like, wait, it's not actually blocking my way. But I still died and had to start again.
But yeah, after that, I made my way back to the main path, explored up the seaside way, finding some chests and stuff. So what were the chest messages that stood out to you?
So the first one was, so what really stops you from wearing more than 2 accessories? Social decorum, which is a very good point.
Yeah.
Oh, take notice, Estelle. Start wearing all of them. You can wear a bracelet and an earring and a necklace at the same time. You have enough body parts.
Look, might not have had a lot of great opinions, but Coco Chanel was right with the take one thing off before you leave the house idea, because 3 accessories, that's just crazy. You've got to limit yourself to 2, apparently. I caught that one as well. What else did you have?
When you gaze long enough into the empty chest, the chest gazes back into you.
Nice.
We do love the Friedrich Nietzsche abyss quote coming from a chest. We love that. I think that's who said it.
It pairs well with one that I found, which just said, inside the chest you find blood. So much blood. Why wasn't this here the first time?
Yeah.
Some of these chest messages get weird and dark, and I kind of like it.
It's so good. I love the weird dark ones. Then I'll have you know that if you could take multiple items from the same chest, the economy would collapse. And I think the last one is, this chest is holding a beauty pageant with all of its other treasure chest friends. But beauty on the outside can't save how empty it is on the inside.
That was another one of the dark ones that I was like, okay. Yeah. Did Joshua write these messages? Jeez.
This is what he did on his way to meet up with the Kappas. He just ran through writing chess messages.
I did catch one more. There's one of the beachside ones that just says, "You nearly tear the top of the chest off of its hinges in your excitement to open it. Your face falls as you realize that there's nothing inside."
Oh, I have some other ones from a later point. We can get to that when I get to after Manoria.
I just really liked that tear the top of the chest one off because
yes, that is fun.
This is Estelle, a 16-year-old who was powerful enough to, like, with some friends, defeat a robot 6 times her size in an underground, like, maze.
1,200 years old, yeah.
So it is entirely within the realm of possibility that she would be strong enough to just accidentally rip the top off her chest. I like the idea of, like, secret muscle mommy Estelle because she's very strong.
I support her. I really do support her.
But yeah, I think that was about all I had before I made my way up to Manoria. First thing I noticed in Manoria that they have poster boards up with mayoral election posters. I think they have them in Ruan as well, but I didn't take notice. But it's just there's.
Oh, did you get to Manoria before going to the orphanage? Were you able to go in?
Yes, I avoided the orphanage, so I was able to loop around. But we were meant to hit the orphanage first, so why don't we cover that and then we can do the big explore.
We go in and it's all been rebuilt. The orphanage has all been nice and rebuilt. It looks the same pretty much. And it's really nice to see that everything's okay. And Teresa comes out and they're happy to see her and all that kind of thing. It's all nice and sweet. Introduce Shara. And then we mention why we're here. And we find out that Polly saw a white man. That's really terrifying. That's what happened. That's fucking scary. She saw a white man. Those exact words.
Yeah, she says, "A white man. I saw a white man." And I was so mad that I was reading too fast and I hit next before I took a screenshot because that's the funniest line.
But Estelle is really discombobulated by the thought of a white man. And between that and the Joshua thing, she just has good cry with Matron Teresa.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so, no, Matron Teresa, Estelle is like, "You didn't ask me where Joshua is." And apparently Chloe has told her what happened, and Estelle just starts to cry, and Teresa comes and hugs her and just holds her for a while she has a big cry. At least that's what happens for me. I don't know, maybe she doesn't cry when Night gets there.
No, it plays out a little bit differently, but yeah, you meet Matron Teresa out front. She comes over and have a little chat, and then Estelle pipes up and says the same thing. It's like, "Aren't you going to ask about Joshua?" And she reveals, Chloe filled me in, so I'm all good. And then Estelle says something to the effect of like, "Okay, I'm glad. I can't, because if you'd asked about it, I wouldn't be able to stop myself from..." And then Teresa immediately goes into mum mode.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Come here," like hugs her, and she's like, "I can't be your mum, but I can be a shoulder to cry on for a few moments." And I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And Agate blessedly keeps his mouth fucking shut.
Thank goodness.
He stands back, lets it happen. They cut to inside where they're sort of chatting at the table over some tea and cakes.
Yes.
And Agate
we cut to that too.
like jokingly ribs her a little bit about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. He's just like, they're chatting and they're talking about, we need to talk to the kids. Teresa says they're still at Sunday school in Manoria, and Agate offers, or like Estelle offers to go pick the kids up. Like, we can go check in on them. And then Agate's like, we'll keep an eye out them. We'll bring them home if needed. After all, Estelle, you owe her one after letting you cry like that, huh? And Estelle's just like, yeah.
Sure, I think said something similar, but I could be misremembering.
But it's so soft for Agate because a game ago in this same location, I wouldn't have been surprised if like a tear appeared in Estelle's eye and he just backhanded her across the backyard.
Oh my god, across the backyard. Just across the garden, ripping up the whole garden with her body as she flies.
Yeah, just spinning off into the distance, Team Rocket style. But no, he's just like, he's very like chill. He's like, he kind of has the vibe of like, it seems like you needed that. I can't be the guy who helps you have a cry, but that's great. He's just kind of like stepped back and said, "Yep, this is required." Yeah, so we commit to go pick up the kids from Sunday school. I did do a quick explore of the orphanage because we didn't really get a chance to look at it before.
I looked at it only insofar as I really wanted to rest and wanted to see if I could sleep on the beds, and I couldn't.
No, well, I went upstairs. There's the kids' bedroom where they've got like a bunch of toys and books. It's all very nice. The one thing I did notice that in Matron Teresa's room, she has 2 separate cuck chairs.
What is a cuck chair?
A cuck chair is the chair that your husband sits on and watches while you have sex with a different man.
Oh, okay.
She has a stool immediately at the end of the bed, not next to like a dresser or anything, just a stool. And then separately, she has a desk chair that is not facing the desk, it is pointed at the bed.
Oh, okay.
Backed up against the bookshelf.
I have not heard this term before.
You listen to better podcasts than I do.
I was just so mad that the bed wouldn't let me sleep. And now I guess I'm glad that it didn't let me in because I don't know what she's been up to in there.
A matron in the streets, but a freak in the bed.
Maybe it's like she's leaving space for her dead husband, like, so that he can spiritually be with them when she gets up to some activities because he's dead, right? It's like when you leave having a table, a place set at the table for someone who's no longer with you, or having a chair there so your husband can be part of your sex life even in death.
Yeah, one chair is leaving space for Jesus, the other one is leaving space for dead husband.
Yeah.
Because I felt like there had to be something going on in these rooms that we'd never seen before, but there's not.
Well, there is. It's just...
There's something going on.
We now know how she can be so saint-like, because she has a great outlet.
I think we know how she got the building rebuilt so quick.
No, we raised that money. We helped raise that money at the school festival.
And how do you encourage your workers to build faster?
Okay, fair.
Workplace bonuses.
They had a good time. They were all just having a good time, yeah. It's true.
In any case, after this wonderful revelation about Matron Teresa, I did leave, and it's at this point that Agate gives a whole speech.
Oh my gosh, I did not get a whole speech from Shara. She just said that Matron Teresa reminded her of Estelle's mom, Lina.
So Agate mentions that as well. It's like, it must have been nice, similar to the old man's wife, which is how he refers to Lina. But then he goes off and he's like, you know what? Women are amazing. And he gives this whole speech about how, like, women are emotionally adjusted and they can, like, deal with things better than men can. This is kind of where I got the echo of his speech on the airship.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's just talking about how, like, strong and cool women are, and that he really respects the ability. He's like, I don't have the capacity to, like, feel my feelings about something like this. I'm glad that you had that outlet. Like, women are great. Women supporting women is great. Secret feminist Agate Crossner. I was like, what?
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I mean, I remember he said something nice in this scene, but, like, that's all I remember because it's been years. That's wow, Agate, look at you.
The whole time he's like so smiley, and he's like literally very like honestly and endearingly saying like, chicks rock.
Yeah.
I love him for it.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, and this was the point where I was like, okay, no, I think I'm all in on Agate now, because this is like a hard pivot from where he was at last time. Something's changed in his life that's let him like chill the fuck out.
Something has changed within him.
Something is not as anti-feminist. I was just so surprised. And he's like, anyway, let's go find the kids.
So, Matron Teresa did mention that they were with the wandering priest who visits Manoria. And Estelle was like, that sounds familiar. And we're like, it sure fucking does. So, right, I get to Manoria, find a few things before I go to check on Sunday school. I find Orvid in the second floor of the inn, who I pick up a quest from. They don't seem like he and Estelle, neither of them acknowledge that they've met before.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Which technically, like, I guess since it was all side quests, they might not have. Technically, a person could have not met Orvid, except that other characters who you only met in side quests will acknowledge you and be like, yeah, I remember you. So it's strange that he's not one of them. Another interesting tidbit is that I remember that his niece lived in town, so I went to visit her.
Oh, yeah.
And her brother was there. Her brother was like, yeah, I recently helped rebuild the orphanage, so I guess he was hooking up with Matron Teresa. The niece was like, she's the older sister of this guy, and she was like, yeah, my uncle finally got back to town and then immediately went off to do another reckless ingredient hunting thing, and I'm really worried my younger brother is gonna take after him, because he's also reckless. I also found Delmore's old butler was drunk in the inn. He was just crying about, like, how everything fell apart. And the innkeeper was like, this guy says he's Mayor Delmore's old butler. I don't actually know if it's true. Which I thought was just very funny. He's like, yeah, he's saying this. I don't know. Those were the main things that I found happening in Manoria before plot. Did you spot anything else?
Well, yeah, I caught Dario, the butler, who was all drunk and everything. And also I did have a note that Creda, who runs the general store, I had a chat to her, and she's fully horny for the wandering priest. She's like,
oh, yes.
This like handsome wandering priest. Oh, I need some spiritual guidance. That was about it for me. I did notice the guy who was the brother in the house. I think because I went there a little bit early, his dialogue was a little bit different. He mentioned something. He's like, he kind of says like, oh, hey, I'm here. I helped with the building. I've got nothing to talk about. Let's talk later, which was odd.
Yeah.
He just kind of cuts it off, and I was like, all right, cool. But yes, the next thing that I had happen in Manoria was a scripted thing. So
Yes, me too.
out of curiosity, and this was before I'd been to the orphanage as well, I went up onto the hill where Joshua and Estelle had lunch because I wanted to see if anything would happen. And it does.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little flashback where she sort of cuts back to another sepia tone screenshot of them eating on the benches out back of the windmill building.
Yeah.
She shares it with Agate. And again, another great Agate moment. She's like, oh yeah, sorry, it's nothing. It's just, last time I was here, I stopped here for lunch with Joshua and, I wasn't really like caring about his feelings. I was like feeding him even though he didn't really want it to. He must have been like so sick and tired of me already by that point.
Yeah, she said the same thing.
Like reframing her memories, like, oh, like it wasn't like an amnesia barrier shattered or a new personality emerged. It's just like he stops pretending now. So he was always having these thoughts and just like keeping up the nice guy persona in her head.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a moment where again I was reinforced that Agate is great because she shares all that with Agate and he's like, hey, do you need like a second to like process that before you move on? He's just like super chill. He's like, hey, you're having a tough time. Do you need a second before we move on? And she's like, no, it's fine, but thank you. I was like, Agate, good guy. Love him.
Yeah, he's great. He really comes into his own this chapter. I was going to say this chapter, and then it's like, no, not this chapter, this game. And then it's like, wait, but it's called a chapter. So, yes, chapter game. I just confused myself a lot. But yeah, no, he's really coming into his own. Estelle also had the windmill flashbacks, but there wasn't much more to it other than Cher was like, do you need a second? And Estelle's like, no, I got to keep going.
Oh, okay, so the dialogue's the same across the two of them. That's interesting. It definitely felt like more of a deal from Agate in that moment because it felt out of character for him.
Yeah, no, from Cher, it was like, obviously Cher would ask, do you need a moment, honey?
Yeah.
But whereas Agate, it means a lot more.
The division between like unique dialogue and reused dialogue between the two of them, like obviously there are lines you can reuse, but it's curious to me that the generic dialogue is moving Agate's like character arc forwards.
Yeah, no, it seems very deliberate, yeah.
Shera's isn't because we already know she's empathetic.
And that Estelle is like her younger sister.
They have that much more established dynamic. But yeah, it does, for me it feels a lot like Agate is putting on less bluster because there's no other men around.
Yeah.
Like it felt like he was always at the throat of Joshua, especially. And now that he's not here, he's just like relaxed, several years older brother vibes.
Yeah, it's like, it turns out that he's actually just a misandrist. He just hates men.
Yeah, we were just misunderstanding all this time.
He's not just an asshole, it's just that he really hates men. He can't like be chill when they're around. Which actually sounds gay now that I think about it, but But then I went into the windmill house, and guess who we find? It's exactly who I thought I was going to find. It's Kevin. And he is reading a novel he's reciting. I don't know if he's reading it or reciting it from memory, called The Dull Night.
Yeah, he's talking about like powering things up, and it honestly sounds like he's reading like an Orbital manga to the kids.
Oh, definitely. He's like, and then he has to power up his mech. Like,
yeah, that was really like, okay, this is probably, at first he was like talking about like just a proper name. I can't remember if it was like Peter or Pierre or something.
Pedro.
Oh, Pedro. Pedro was doing this and Pedro was doing that. And I was like, oh, this might be like a religious story. And then he's like, and then he needs to power up his mech. And I was like, I don't think this is a religious text anymore.
He later reveals that it's a popular young adult novel. It's like, I picked up Twilight for Sunday school.
Yeah, he brought them with him from interstate or like from the last country he was in.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was just going to like piecemeal it out like a chapter at a time for the kids, but they peer pressured me into doing it all at once.
And he did not resist it. Yeah, that's about all. We pick up the kids and are taking them home. And also, Kevin joins us. And at this point, I was like, yay, I have 3 people in my party now, so I can go have a great time. I ran up to Manoria Byroad. I went all the way up to the lighthouse. There was a hidden quest at the lighthouse where the old man Vote is like, oh, I remember you kids. You saved me when I got, like, knocked out, or the Went kid. Well, for you, I guess both, because Agate was there, but here, Cher didn't know him. And basically, he was like, oh, I need to do a thing for the lighthouse. And I was like, oh, can we help you? He's like, oh, no, it's my job. Ugh. But I'm tired and my back hurts. Ugh. There's a manual on the thing if you're curious. Ugh. And it sounds like, is he just really passive aggressive? It being the most passive aggressive person ever trying to get us to do the job for him.
Yeah.
And Cher goes, there's no maybe about it.
Yeah, very same from Estelle and Agate. He does acknowledge that he knows both of them. That's really the main difference. But yeah, he says like, oh, my back hurts. And Estelle's like, oh, can you take like medicine for that or something? And he's like, I haven't done anything about it for my entire life and I'm not going to start now.
Exactly. He's like, I've been dealing, my back's hurt since you've been in diapers.
Yeah, it was at that point that I was like, should I just leave this man to rot? Like, he deserves this. if you're not willing to ask for help or help yourself in any way for 50 years, maybe you don't deserve help with this. But I was like, but I do want BP. So BP goes over like morals.
Yeah, I took that more as him being like, don't tell me how to manage my back pain when I've been managing it. Less like, I don't take medicine, and more like, I know when I can and when I can't deal with it. You know how sometimes when you've got like try to suggest things to someone who deals with like a chronic illness or injury, and they're like, trust me, I know all the possible things to do, and I know what's not going to work and what it, like, I kind of took it more that way, which is obviously fair. Able-bodied folks and healthy folks are constantly, like, giving advice to people who don't need that advice because they know way more about their condition. But this guy, I wasn't really, I told myself it was that, but he's very, like, it's very much like, my back's been hurting since I was in diapers. I'm just, like...
Yeah, it very much feels like he's refusing to do anything to help himself, including just, like, stretching.
Yeah.
I was immediately turned off. He's like, oh, he won't even ask for help with this. He won't help himself. What a trash man. But then I went and read the Lighthouse test run manual, and it's like 3 pages of like wall-to-wall text. So I looked at my walkthrough and just did the things that it told me to do because I was like, I don't have time.
They're doing like a diagnostic test of the machinery, and basically what you have to do is there's like an orbital, like a transmitter and an augmenter or something like that. Basically you have to put both dials to low and then move them to medium and high, but one has to go before the other. And before that you have to hit one on switch, and there's a connection switch you have to hit at the end of it all, but it's like you have to like slowly dial it up. So it's easy to do when you have the instructions in front of you, but the hard part is figuring out from the manual what the fuck you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and it's like the manual is 3 pages. It has like a troubleshooting section. It's like, here's what to do if it doesn't work. It's like, I know.
Like, can you just start with, like, here's what to do, as opposed to, like, reverse engineering? Like, because the way it's written, you have to reverse engineer. It's like, if this doesn't work, do this. If this doesn't work, do this. It's like, okay, if nothing's working, I start from zero. Where do I start? But I think that's kind of the point, is for it to be annoying.
And it sure was. So I skipped it.
The funny part, though, was at the end of page 3, it goes, warning, the contents of this manual may be changed at any time without notice. We thank you for your understanding.
Yeah, if we roll out the Lighthouse firmware, this might change.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for learning how to do that, so I followed my guide, turned on the Lighthouse, it was great.
Oh, I didn't learn how to do it either, to be clear. I just, like...
Yeah.
I've looked at the pages, and I was like, I read it, but I didn't internalize it.
In any case, they got the Lighthouse to turn on. It does like a diagnostic cycle where it's going to switch on for a while and then switch back off. It's fine. Went back and told Vogt that I did his stupid job. He was happy about it. He was like, oh, thanks. And then there's an extra BP decision, which is just asking him again, do you need help with anything else? The same question you asked to start this little side quest, this hidden side quest.
But it's a continuity from the last game, because he yells at Estelle for the fact that before leaving, she doesn't ask, is there anything else I could do?
Yeah.
And this time she asks, and he's really excited about that. So it also just shows that Estelle has learned, even if she's learning to cater to an unreasonably passive-aggressive man.
Yeah, because he switches on a dime. He's immediately like, thank you so much. And it's like complimenting her work as a bracer out of nowhere.
Like, you're just like those good old bracers from the days of old, like that hot, beautiful, handsome Cassius Bright who I'm in love with. I couldn't shut up about last time.
I guess we missed the other like instruction manual right next to the Lighthouse one, which is how to interact with this shitty old man. Like, you have to do these steps in this order, and you have to repeat this one at the end. And if his back fucks up, just leave him for a few hours and it'll figure it itself out, apparently.
To be fair, because last game they were like, oh yeah, he has to stay at the lighthouse all the time and no one ever visits him, so he's just all alone, stuck in this building, working constantly 24/7. I was like, you know what? If I was stuck in a tower like Rapunzel with nobody to talk to ever all the time and none of my friends ever visited me, maybe I would be just a crotchety old man too. It's still annoying to deal with, but I'm like, I don't know.
He mentions in the first chapter, though, that he did it by choice. Like, he wanted to be the lighthouse keeper and be away from people. And I was like, I think I understand why now. Because you're a bad person, Vogt. You've got a bad name, you got a bad attitude, you got a bad back. Triple threat. Ugh.
Alright, but anyway, that was all that there was to, like, do side-quest-wise north of Manoria, but I did go up to Crone Pass and find some treasure chests.
I hiked the whole way to Crone Trail checkpoint, because I was pushing. I wanted to see, like, when are you going to turn me back?
I didn't go to the checkpoint. I stopped it at that point. I was like, I'm done. I got lost just.
It was fun, though. I got a couple little interesting tidbits as I went there.
Tell me.
Went all the way up the trail. When I got to Crone Trail checkpoint, that was one of the spots where people were like, holy shit, you walked here? Because the guards are all kind of bored because no one ever comes through anymore because the monsters are so dangerous.
Crone is supposed to be, like, a really difficult... Like, the last game, too, they were like, this is really mountainous and treacherous. It's, like, exhausting to walk Crone Trail.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I got to the checkpoint, the guy manning the Crone Trail side of the checkpoint gate, Seros, he and Agate sort of check in because they know each other, and they're like, "Oh, hey, I remember you. Like, you helped us out when those crazy dogs attacked a while back."
The Dobermans.
Yes, and Estelle kind of remembers it as well, but she acknowledges that she was fighting on the other side of the checkpoint while Agate and this dude were doing the far side. So it's just another spot where like everyone knows Agate.
Mm-hmm.
Also, another officer in like the bunk room mentions that their only joy at the checkpoint is Seros's cooking, and that if he ever does leave the army, they'll be very sad, but he should definitely become a chef. And my brain immediately flashed to that open shop front in Grancel where there was a house behind LeBlanc that was like,
oh my gosh,
this house is for sale.
Yeah, I remember.
Would be perfect as a shop front. And I was just like, oh, that'd be so cool if Seros opens a cafe or like a restaurant or something there one day.
So what comes to mind is I remember that when we were staying overnight in FC, whoever was on cooking duty that night was a terrible cook, and Estelle thought it was good and everyone else thought it was terrible. And I'm like, wait, was that Seros and this one guy thinks he's a good chef, or was it somebody else on duty?
I sort of had a vibe, if that was the case, that maybe Seros, through their kind of like semi-isolation because no one's coming to the checkpoint anymore, he kind of did the whole like lockdown hobbies thing and became like a super chef because he had nothing else to do.
Could be. But after that, I went all the way back down to Manoria and then Mercia. Did you find anything else fun up there?
Not really. I had that fun little check-in at the checkpoint, which I'm sure...
Oh, wait. I completely forgot that we went immediately to the orphanage, and then we did all this after going to the orphanage, because it immediately faded to black when we brought the kids home.
Oh, yeah. We don't actually have to, like, track the kids back.
So, and we learned a few other things in the orphanage. What we learned in the orphanage, when Polly tells us what she saw, so all the kids have portraits now. Mary is like translated for Polly. Polly's like very kind of like a ditzy, like not really clear, and Mary is another little kid who's like, here's what she means.
She's like 4 or something, yeah.
And Polly's like the youngest, least mature kid, I guess. The White Shadow danced and whatever, and was wearing a cape and gloves or whatever. And then we asked, did you see what his face looked like? And she goes, well, no, he wore a mask. And everyone was like, you never mentioned this part before. She goes, well, nobody asked. But yeah. So the White Shadow wears a mask. And another kid saw it as well, briefly, which is how we know it wasn't just a dream she had.
Yeah, Daniel also caught a glimpse, though he didn't get as good a look. He sort of saw it more from a distance. I did think it was interesting also that Polly specifically confirms that the figure was spinning.
Yes.
In the same way that Belden from the Ravens did.
And then he bowed to her. She called out to him or something, and he bowed to her and then vanished.
Whatever this is, it's seeing the stuff happening. After that, it was just kind of like, okay, that's about all we're going to get. Polly has confirmed that the white man is a white man. We know everything we need to know.
He's wearing a mask.
He's wearing a mask.
White man in a mask. Scary shit.
Mm.
But then we did all the shit we just talked about doing, weirding around with Kevin.
So, yeah, I made my run all the way out to Crone Trail. I did realize at this point that I could have gone south of town as well, I think, because I could get out onto the southern road beforehand as well, but I just didn't bother.
I didn't even try that.
I got onto the road because there was like the Saffel Tower photo mission. Saffel Tower is down the south road, whichever one that is, I can't remember.
I think you have to go to Mercia first, because you have to go from closest to furthest.
Yeah, you're definitely locked in town until you do the Raven one, and then they unlock the path out of Ruan. Maybe at that point it's only north, and at some point in the orphanage chain meant that I could go south as well. But it does kind of lead you through the 3 witnesses in a specific order.
Yeah.
You could sequence break, but you'd have to be like working at it, I think.
All right, hopefully.
Hey, if you went a different direction, live your life, and we'll catch up with you next episode, I guess.
And apologies if we gave anything away that you didn't get to. But yeah, at that point, I then realized that I hadn't done the Vista Way monster, so I went and did that. And then I unequipped all of Kevin's shit, and we went into town, because I knew Kevin was going to leave me. It wasn't that, he had a couple of good ones, nothing crazy good, but like he had a level 2 something.
Oh, okay, because I know when Annalise left my party, her equipment, like her shoes and stuff, showed up in my inventory, but I don't know that her orbment stuff did.
No, I think Kevin's different.
Which might explain why I no longer have a luck quartz, because maybe Annalise has it equipped.
So I don't have it at all. And here's the reason why. Because when I started this file, I got the, like, do you want to carry over your save data? And in my mind, I thought that was the New Game Plus thing because I'd played the game before, and I was like, I'm not doing New Game Plus, so I didn't carry over any of my save stuff, so my BP, nothing, so I didn't get the luck cores, I didn't get the shit you get for having good, perfect BP in the first game.
Then I didn't get it either. But I didn't have it when I needed it for the original setup, so I'd sub something else in. I just saw that it was on, like, the quartz setup for the prologue for Annalise and Estelle, but I had to work around it because I didn't even get the prompt for the save data carryover.
Okay.
I think because of the way I'm emulating it, it can't
Right.
It can't see the saves in the other little, like, virtual folder.
Okay, so we're both on the same page, which is nice. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world if I didn't have the save stuff, but...
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a luck quartz eventually. It does mean, from the sounds of it, that Orvid side quest to get all of his ingredients will be tougher.
A little more annoying. I fought the Night Nautilus monster like 30 times because it drops evade 2, but only one of them does, I think, of the 3 that you can encounter on that path, so I drove myself crazy, but I got to evade 2 quartzes eventually, and I was like, finally, thank God.
Oh, nice. You'll have to point out exactly where that is so I can go give it a try, because I could use those.
It's the big blue tentacle monster on the,
Oh, the guys who look like a big wheel, yeah.
The one I got them from, I think, is the one that's, so the one I could not get it from no matter what was the one on the second screen out of Ruan. On the first screen out of Ruan, both of those would eventually dropped one.
Okay, cool. Well, then I might have to hike back before I dive into the next podcast section of the chapter and fill myself out, because an evade 2 would go down nice right now.
Very useful. It got me Ariel and Estelle as well as Shara, which is very nice.
But yeah, I didn't really get much use out of Kevin in the party at this point, because literally I went and did everything before getting him.
Yeah.
And there was nothing left to do. So he's like, hey, I'll keep you company back to Ruan. And that's literally, we just walked from the orphanage to Ruan, and that was it.
Well, you'll be very glad to know that he has a move. One of his arrows, he's a crossbow, and one of his crafts, when he uses it, he yells,
8 hot arrows!
As he attacks, which is just great.
Well, I look forward to seeing more of Kevin.
Very priestly.
Because I'm sure he will wander into our path again. What a bizarre tease it would be to have this be his last appearance in the game. He's like, hey, I'll keep you company, bye.
That was so weird.
When we arrived back in Ruan with Kevin in tow, there was a little chat between him and Agate. Agate sort of highlights that the crossbow he uses is, like, ancient and rickety, but that he's really good at it. And he's like, yeah, it's just like, as a wandering priest, I just need a way to defend myself. I'm not as strong as the rest of you, but I can still do my part. Then he, like, flirts with Estelle for a second, and she's like, I thought we agreed to stop that shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, hee. I like Kevin.
Kevin's funny.
He did come across a bit, like, gross, horny, flirty, but it seems like once you know his vibe, he's just like, he reminds me of Gigi from Dan, the anime. I don't know if you've experienced it.
I haven't watched it, but I know what it is.
Who's kind of a similar archetype to Kevin, I'm finding, where he's like, he's strong and he's smart and he's got something else going on, but at the same time he's like, I'm putting funny faces, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's very Kevin. And Kevin also, I think just flirting is kind of like his default mode. Like, that's just kind of how he interacts. Kind of like Shara and Olivier. Like, they just kind of flirt by default.
Yeah, what is the bounce off between him and Shara?
They don't seem to really flirt with each other so much, but they did not speak much.
Huh.
There wasn't that much interaction. Like, they talked.
Yeah.
But they weren't, like, wasn't heavy. But I mean, they met back in the house in Roland when he had accompanied me there, and then Shara and Cassius showed up. So it's not like they were meeting for the first time.
That's right, yeah.
But they did chat a bit about, Kevin gave us some insight about the ghost. Basically that Father Theodore, who's the local priest, who I did check in on, he was just complaining about the election people being loud. Basically, he's worried about this ghost because this doesn't make sense according to the testaments. Basically, there's 3 kinds of dead. There's the dead that go to heaven, the dead that go to Gehenna or hell, and then some who don't go to either. But when that happens, they're tied to a specific place. They haunt a specific place. They don't just, like, wanderingly show up in various places. And this being seemingly a wandering spirit that's been sighted in multiple places does not add up with how ghosts are supposed to work. Which is very funny. Estelle's like, oh yeah, ghosts are real then. Okay. She doesn't quite say that, but that's kind of her vibe. She's like, oh great. But yeah, so this isn't a ghost according to how ghosts work in Testaments of Adios.
Yeah.
But that's kind of all. And then he's kind of, it's like, bye, stay cool and spookless or something like that as he takes off. And Shara and Estelle talk about how weird he is, like as being a traveling priest. And Shara's like, I think all traveling priests are just really weird. And then she says that back when she was in the troop, they had the oddest wandering sister who traveled with us, but Shara never found out why either. But that's just kind of an interesting touch, that there was a wandering sister who was also a weirdo who traveled with Shara's troop.
See, Agate has a similar line because Estelle asks him about like, oh, like you must have had a wandering priest like come through when you lived in Ravenou as well, because that's where you're from. It's like another sort of remote village. And Agate confirms, he's like, oh yeah, no, we did have a wanderer. He just refers to him as a wanderer, which I thought was kind of fun. It's like a very familiar term for a wandering priest, so obviously he's experienced this. He's not one of the people who are like, that's a thing. But he's like, yeah, our old wanderer was also very kooky. Was a real weirdo. He has some phrases like, crazier than a bag of rocks, that kind of turn of phrase. I didn't capture exactly what it was, but he's like, oh yeah, I think that just kind of comes with the territory. If you're like roaming religion, you are also batshit insane. So it's nice. I like it. It's nostalgic.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun that they both have experience with wandering religious people.
And that, I think, takes us to where we left off for this episode. Unless you did anything else?
Yeah.
I did go and report my monsters that I killed because I was so broke that I wanted that money ASAP, and then I saved.
At one point, I actually backtracked all the way from Crone Trail checkpoint all the way back to Ruan so that I could turn in all of my quests because I was like, I defeated those monsters. Why am I still poor? And I forgot you have to go to work to get paid because we haven't done contactless paying yet.
Not yet.
So yeah, I'd like hiked all the way back and bought like a few healing items and then went all the way back to Manoria to meet Kevin to go to the orphanage to come back to Ruan. So I got my steps in this chapter. I can say that much.
You really did. Damn. You would have worn out those shoes if we were testing the Strigas again.
Oh man, I hope in the remake they have just like a durability percentage bar on screen or something for that because that...
Yes, please.
But that's all we're covering for this week's episode. So I saved the game and closed it down at this point. I didn't worry about running around Ruan again. Thought I'd save that for booting up next time. But yes, our next goal is, it's not really disclosed at this point, but our next goal is to go to the third witness at Airleton checkpoint down the other side of town.
Possibly some side quests on the way there.
Possibly. We've got to take some photos at a tower of a doohickey. Still got to get that one done. I still need to collect some ingredients for Orvid.
At some point. I might wait to do that and see if anyone else hangs around, joins the party, shows up, maybe.
Who knows? There's a whole bunch of video game ahead. But yes, so I've got to head to Safel Tower to get some ingredients, apparently. So that's on the cards for this half.
But we have the whole chapter. The ingredient collecting one, we have the whole chapter to do. So
it's a long one.
It's not a rush, yeah.
But yeah, I guess that does us for this week.
It's over!
So, nice easy checkpoint for next week's episode. We'll be playing to the end of chapter 1. So just...
Of second chapter. Chapter 1 of second chapter.
I fully got confused there for a second and panicked. I was like, oh god, are we on chapter 2? Did we finish chapter 1? This game is so confusing. Why did they do this to us? Okay, so for next episode, we will be playing Legend of Heroes, Trails in the Sky, second chapter, chapter 1, part 2, to the end.
Of chapter 1, yes.
Until the end card of chapter 1, and that'll be it.
Yeah, and until then, feel free to, find us on socials at TrailsPod on Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, or shoot us an email at trailsthroughtrails@gmail.com. Please leave a review on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on.
And if you're the person who listens to the podcast through WatchOS, please message in. I am so curious. I'm not judging, I'm just curious.
Matt's gonna be, lying awake at night about this, so please put Matt out of his misery.
We started a podcast and they gave us access to complex analytics, and my whole day job is spreadsheets, so I just immediately got my sicko face on and was like, who's the weirdest? No, that's judgmental. I didn't mean weirdest, I meant coolest. Who's the coolest person listening on WatchOS?
Whenever we're judging on this, let me be clear, I'm the person who wrote all of my notes by hand for first chapter. There's nobody weirder than me. I know how to send a fax better than I know how to use Discord. Truly, it is not actually a judgment space for technology because I lose that game. We're just curious.
Deeply curious. I want to know what your life is like.
And do they have Bluetooth headphone functionalities on Apple Watches? That would be interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, is that what it is? That's actually a really good idea. It would be very satisfying is that what it is, but if you also just listen it through your watch on speakerphone, this is audio poison. Why do I keep talking about this? No one cares. I care. No one else does. That's the end of this episode. We will see you next time for the remainder of Chapter 1 of Trails in the Sky. Second chapter. Leave us reviews. Send us comments.
Oh my god, maybe the Apple Watch is like it's your ornament.
We can't keep doing this. We can't.
No, but the pocket watch, the ornament, you wind the thing.
Oh.
They listen to podcasts from their orbits.
It's an immersion thing. I see what it is. Okay.
It's an immersion thing. And now I now know that orbits can play podcasts. podcast. Oh my god, there's a podcasting economy in Zemuria.
Oh god, no one let Agate start a podcast.
Unless he's talking about how much men suck and women rock the whole time, I would listen to that podcast.
I mean, it could work. But until Agate starts his podcast, I've been Matt.
And I've been Lex.
And we will see you next time on Trails Through Trails.
Bye.
Goodbye.